everybody, it is Calxiyn Hunter. If you guys enjoyed this video, you guys should become patrons over on Patreon and subscribe. I went into a loop where I said enjoy the video, Patreon subscribe, and enjoy the video again, and I was just like, oh my god, my brain's already breaking.
And the second time you sounded so meek about it, you're like, I enjoyed the video, and I'm like, I'm sure you don't
notice
some
me,
confidence.
senpai. Anyway,
be confident about it. You don't have to be like, notice me, senpai.
Anyway, so today we are going to talk about Penny's father because, like, we had a theory. Do you remember this? We had a theory that Penny's father was somehow related to or was Merlot from RWBY Grim Eclipse.
Oh boy, back when people
back
gave
when
a shit about Grim
that
Eclipse.
We were going to Atlas, like back when we thought. Yeah. That was because we went to RTX and I think Semblance of Sanity mentioned something about that and I was like, that's a good idea. Let's talk about it, right? And we also like added our own idea.
I feel like people forget about this, but in case you forgot, in the big scene where, spoiler, I guess.
Spoiler Hunter. What?
I don't know why, because for some reason.
Who would be watching this video if they didn't already watch RWBY?
Go
ahead, say what you were gonna say.
So, anyways, when Penny dies. Which I guess is a spoiler.
Okay.
And it's all very dramatic, and it cuts to people all around the world watching on their screens in Vacuo and Atlas. I guess to impress the audience that, like, oh, everyone's seeing this. It's you know, on the nightly news.
Yeah.
And then we briefly see this old bearded white coated man looking at a screen who grips his chair kind of sadly. And a lot of people, I feel like, people forget about it because it was such a small moment and we haven't, like, had it. There's no, like, Penny's dad watch like there was Neo watch. But people sort of forget that, like, oh, that's probably Penny's dad, Penny's creator. Because they mention how she has, like, a dad and it's like, oh, is that Ironwood? Like, no, Ironwood's my other dad or whatever.
Yeah, even in the RWBY, or the manga anthology, she says that. She's like, it's great having two dads, and she's talking about Ironwood and
Geppetto.
Geppetto.
We don't know her name, but if she's Pinocchio, then he's the creator and he's Geppetto. So
is Geppetto a color name, or would they have to call him something else? They just
call
him Gelato. Ah! Wow, we're so smart, Hunter. Anyway,
Gelato is actually like the name that people tend to give like Neo's brother.
Yeah,
like a different,
I mean, that makes
like,
sense.
When people do like Neo OCs.
I was just trying to think of a G name that's also a color, but yeah. Anyway,
hello, I'm Jeff with a G and an E.
Oh God.
No, it's it could be voiced by Jeff Ramsey from.
Hunter, focus. Come
Anyways,
on.
you get the. So a lot of people are like, oh shit, are we gonna see Penny's dad? And in that case, are we gonna, like, what happens? Are we gonna see another Penny? Pierre is dead, but are they gonna see like Jean and he's gonna have a freak out like your fucking teammate killed my daughter? Are we gonna see another? I've seen this. I don't think they'll do it because people have been like, there have been comics and like fan fictions written about this moment a lot, but like a lot of people think there'll be a moment where like Ruby's in Atlas and she will see like a little redhead in a crowd and she'll be like, no. And she'll run away and it'll be like, where's she going? Where's she going? Where's she going? And then eventually we see she runs up and she looks at Penny and she grabs and she's like, oh my god, Penny! And she grabs Penny and she's just like, hello, friend, do I know you? And like, you don't know me? I'm like, no, but we can be best friends. Or just something like tragic and horrible like that. I don't know if they're gonna do that. I feel like Penny was very difficult to make. I feel like maybe there might... So that's one of the possibilities, that we see another Penny. I don't know how that's going to happen for two reasons. One, I feel like people have immediately guessed something like that would happen so quickly that if they did it, they would have to do it in some new and interesting way.
Here's my idea.
Yes.
The thing that was special about Penny is that she was a robot that was capable of generating a synthetic aura, which is basically a soul, right?
Yes.
That's what aura is. And so here's my sort of take.
I feel like it would take a very long time. Which, I mean, maybe now
a lot of people thought Penny was a real person that was put into the body of a robot. What
I was going after.
So
that is Geppetto's actual daughter.
Yeah, and so they put her in a robot because she was sick or because whatever.
Well,
because she would live
her
forever in a robot.
memories won't be there.
So
but her spirit will be.
Here's sort of what I'm thinking, right?
Yes.
I'm pretty sure that when Pyrrha killed Penny, her soul would have went to the afterlife or whatever, because we know there's an afterlife in RWBY because of the gods, and all that. So.
Well, they left though, so I don't know.
Well, I'm sure the afterlife is still open.
I guess
right?
maybe they never do. Do they ever explicitly like?
They pulled Ozpin out of the afterlife. He's like, I want to go back to. I want to go back to the afterlife. Let me sleep,
meet my
bitch.
wife.
No, back to the afterlife and wait for Salem to die. That's basically. So even after the gods left, Ozpin was still in the afterlife. So I'm sure it's still open for business. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm sure it didn't just go away. But to talk about Penny's father, a lot of people think he may be the same person that made Maria's eyes. Or that tunes up Maria's eyes, right? Because I'm guessing that Maria got those eyes sort of like how Yang got her arm, like probably from Ironwood or from somebody high up in the military for her to have to travel all the way to Alice just so they can fix them, right? Because I feel like Ironwood would know the Grim Reaper, or like whoever was above Ironwood before Ironwood was elected, or I don't know, they pick military people. I don't know. But anyway, the point that I'm sort of thinking is like, we're gonna talk about Kingdom Hearts, so Hunter's gonna groan. So basically, in Kingdom Hearts, they have replicas, which they're basically just robots. Like,
is
they're
that
basically
new?
robots.
Has that happened?
No, it happened before. So in Kingdom Hearts Rechain of Memories, they make a replica of Riku, and they input fake memories into the Riku replica to protect one of the other female characters. So it's basically like this robot thinks that he has been like friends with Naminé his entire life and wants to protect Naminé, but he's a robot, and that's not real. So the idea is that this replica like is just, it acts like a person, but it has no soul, like it has no heart. And so I feel like if we get a Penny again, it'll basically be a robot that is in the same design as Penny, but it'll still be a robot. Like, it won't necessarily have that intelligence. And so when RWBY sees it, it's sort of like, yeah, this is Penny, but she has no soul. Like, we figured out how to get her to attack because they still want child soldiers, if you want to call it that, or soldiers that are disguised as children or whatever, to sort of freak out the enemy or whatever they're trying to do. Because I'm pretty sure that the Grimm can still recognize, oh, hey, that's a person. Right? Because they would have recognized Penny, because Penny has an aura just like any other person. So I don't really know why they were making the robots. I'm guessing for against other kingdoms if they had to, or even against Salem,
infiltration.
Right? Yeah, infiltration, sort of stuff like that. Maybe even to put a maiden power into, like a lot of people had that theory as well. Salem, they were using it to put the maiden powers in.
rather Cinder's an asshole, but she made a good point at the Fall of Beacon where she's like, I wonder
why do they need a robot look like a child? I doubt the Grimm can know the difference, right?
Yeah, so with the implication is they're gonna use her against humans.
Yeah, or other humans. And so
that, or they just want to, like, I don't know, make a cheat in the thingamajig.
I feel like they could also make a Penny for sort of the sake of making it to put the Winter Maiden powers in, and so you would never suspect, like, it would be one of those things, oh, you would never suspect her to have them or something like that, or it would be like a normal person has them, but you wouldn't be able, like, ideally you wouldn't be able to kill her because she would be too powerful with maiden powers and being a robot, and then she would never die, and then you would never have to worry about somebody bad getting the maiden powers.
Yes, that's true, yeah.
Right? But I think that if they're going to go the quote-unquote Kingdom Hearts route, I think that it would be sort of nice to have Penny, like a replica Penny, who isn't the true Penny because she has no heart, she has no aura, she basically has no soul. And then in the third Kingdom Hearts game, again, no spoilers if you guys are worried, but they sort of cover that ground again. They want to give a replica body to, like, Roxas to make him a person and, like, just take his heart.
I don't think I could deal if they made, like, a new Penny, but this Penny had no emotions. Like, RWBY
well,
ran
yeah,
up
because she
and
wouldn't be
thought
a real person, right?
And she just looked over and had very, like, blank eyes. And
she would be maybe AI, like, she would be artificial intelligence, but she would have no soul, right? So she would be a person, but she wouldn't be a human.
And if somehow she has feelings right before she dies for the first time.
And she like
if she dies for a second time,
she starts to get feelings again.
And then she if
dies
Penny twice,
stuff. That's
I'm gonna be so hurt. What if there's like another Penny, like a Penny, like it's not Penny, but it's like Penny's sister?
I think it would be interesting.
Copper.
I think that it would be better though if we saw, even if Penny wasn't there. I feel like seeing Geppetto is important, just because I like your idea of him really having a go at Nora and John and Ren because they were all Pyrrha's teammates. And even though Pyrrha died soon after, in his eyes, everybody else saw that they destroyed a robot. Geppetto and RWBY saw that they destroyed a person, that Pyrrha killed someone, right?
Maybe,
so I feel like that's
I would also like the idea
turmoil.
that Ironwood wanted like an emotionless, not connected, easier to manage Penny.
Yeah, because other Penny, like real Penny, was.
And maybe they're gonna have like some big end where they like need a winter maiden Penny or something like that.
Yeah.
And so instead of having like lifeless gray eyes, she opens her eyes and it's green, and that's like the last shot of the season, or like the end credit scene or something.
Something like that.
That's a little cliche, but I'd be way into it.
I feel like they did make it with the intention of, hey, we're gonna put a maiden soul in there, and then Salem will never be able to sort of pick up a maiden or use a maiden or whatever.
I feel like they would
it would be easier to manage because remember, in Mistral, Lionheart's maiden ran away. So if you had a robot maiden, that would be much easier to deal with, right?
Also, like,
you could even put it in the robot, then put the robot away. Like, you could power down the robot after, just keep the maiden powers in there for when you need them. You know what I mean? Like, so you didn't have a maiden that was walking around living her life. You could just store them in a robot, put the robot to sleep, and then wake her up if you did need to get the relic. So I feel like that was the idea. Like, that was the plan. And I feel like Geppetto may be on now a sort of, I don't want to say a Cordovan, but you know how Cordovan was the villain?
It's common in the Atlas military to pull a Cordovan.
You know how Cordovan was sort of the antagonist for the volume, but wasn't a villain? Yes. I feel like Geppetto would be really mad at Ironwood for, first of all, Ironwood using his creation to just store maiden powers and put her away like she meant nothing, but also that this happened to Penny in the first place. So I feel like that he would be really salty about it, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like that he would start going on an evil streak. But he isn't a bad person. He's just still grieving this. And he's like, it's sort of like how in Genlock, Dr. Weller is like, I made something and the first thing they fucking do is militarize it, right? I feel like that's how Geppetto would feel, that they militarized his daughter, right? That they didn't realize that it was more to him than just making a robot to help with the Atlas military. It was to help his sick daughter and put her in a robot.
She was only 3 years old!
Well, in the robot body, but yeah. Anyway, so that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video.
It would be difficult to do, but if they do it, they would have to do something unique and interesting.
Yeah.
We weren't
because we've seen everything, right? Like, there's so many comments and so many, and they don't need to do something unpredictable.
And it can't feel cheap either. It can't just be like, oh, Penny's back, totally fine, nothing bad.
Yeah, I feel like they need to do it. They need to do it in a way where it makes sense, but it's not entirely predictable, if that makes sense, right? Because I feel like the reason why we got so much right during this volume of RWBY was because they led trails of breadcrumbs to where the answer would be, if that makes sense. And they did things that would make sense.
Except sometimes you don't add breadcrumbs to casseroles. And
except for the casserole being poisoned. But the reason why we can predict things is because they are good at planting seeds for stuff to grow. And so I feel like it needs to be one of those things where we've seen everything. So they have to make sure that it isn't something totally cliche or ripped from a fanfic that we've seen before. At the same time, they need to make it make
I would
sense.
appreciate
so between predictability and unpredictability, they need to find a good middle where it's like, nobody saw this coming like this, but people did see it coming that Penny and her father would return in the story. But that's just me. But yeah. We will see you guys later. Hope you guys enjoy. Bye, guys. Thank you guys for watching, and thank you to all of our lovely patrons who have decided to support us over on Patreon. If you guys want to join up, there are a bunch of cool rewards for you guys, and some of the fan favorite rewards, you guys could say, are getting early access to our videos, being able to join and talk in our Discord server, being able to request videos at the $10 tier using video tickets. Those are just some of them, and so if any of those things interest you guys should check it out, become a patron, join our lovely patrons and I in the Discord server, and I will see you all in another video. Bye, guys!